Okay, so the first video that I posted on this channel was like the importance of progress, whatever, poorly made, I was awkward, whatever, irrelevant. Today we're about to see the truth that is actually in that video. We're gonna be taking a look at old photos, old videos, and old graphics that I made at like the beginning of my career, which was like 2019-ish or so, about 4 years ago, and we're just gonna laugh at them, roast each other. Just grab your popcorn, because we're gonna have fun. Okay, so let's begin. Let's just have something to drink while we enjoy this beautiful roasting of my old work. So, as I said, 2019 was when I really started video, photo, graphic design work. So it was about 4 years ago, and yeah, let's just take a look at a couple of photos that I took a couple years before that. So when I thought I was kind of like, we called it Tumblr back in the day. We're like, oh, he's so Tumblr, he's so artsy. Anyway, here's photo number one, right? So back then I thought the only good time to take a photo was sunset or sunrise. I'm like, why would you take a photo at noon or 3 p.m., whatever? And to some extent, still true. But I literally would not take a photo because back then I believed that the only good part about Nebraska, the only photogenic part, was the sun setting. Like there's nothing else, so I would only go out and take photos. I wouldn't feel inspired unless the sun was setting and it looked cool. So this is a photo of the street after it rained and the sun setting, obviously. I mean, it's fine. The colors are kind of cool. The reflection off the wet road. I'm pretty sure this was around the time that I learned in movies. At night, when they're filming, it's either always raining in the movie or it's just rained. The roads are always wet because of the reflection. So I'm pretty sure this is why I went out that day and snagged that photo. But I mean, it's okay, I guess. That's fine. These were all taken with a phone. I didn't get my camera yet. Here's another one. This is of Hastings Lake. I don't know why it's purple. I think I thought that would look cool and stand out. I don't know. All these went on my Visco, so that's what I used to edit photos back then, was Visco. So I just threw a preset on there and apparently thought that a purple sunset looked cool. The original picture, actually just unedited, is probably cooler than this. Okay, this photo I actually still like. Nothing creative about it except it was a cool sunset, and again, it just rained. I literally just stood outside my front door and went boop, and that's what I was looking at. So that's not really, I mean, that's not really creativity. That's just cool clouds and colors. So yeah, I took a lot of sunset photos. Here's another one that's during a winter sunset. As you can see the ice on the window. I'm actually still pretty proud of this photo. Not proud, I guess. It's still kind of cool. Like, I feel like I worked for this photo, and obviously it kind of looks spacey, galaxy-ish, if you will, with the sunset and the clouds and stuff and the ice. So that photo is decent. And then there's this, right? So, like, what is it? It's just a little, what are they called? Allosaurus? A long neck dinosaur toy on the carpet, completely blacked out. What's the story here, Jack? I don't know. I mean, this is art. I might frame this someday. I might give this to my kids. I mean, what is that? This is where we started. This is where we started. It's pretty good. Okay, moving on. So this photo right here, this was the first photo shoot that I ever did with the camera that my parents got me for Christmas. I've talked about it 1,000 times. My first ever camera. This was from the first photo shoot that I went on with that camera. So this is kind of some frozen icicles that trickled down to the frozen lake. I'm standing on the lake. This is like a little shelf, if you will, between the lake and the land. And so the icicles kind of drooped down, froze, and connected. Kind of a cool nature thing, but I got a camera and I figured that, oh, hey, now I have a cool camera instead of a phone. Every picture that I take is just gonna be better because my gear's better. Wrong, you can't just, no matter what camera you have, even on this R5, you just stand, point the camera and click the shutter. That doesn't make it a good photo, even if it is a cool sunset, things like that. So, but I thought I was like, oh man, Peter Lick, you might want to come calling after this. Stupid. We'll take a look at a couple sports photos now. Obviously, sports photos is one of my fortes, one of my strong suits. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the first shoots of different sporting events that I did. So this is from my first softball shoot ever. And I'm not it's not bad. I center framed literally everything. I still struggle with it, but the pose is not bad. The shot that I chose where you can see the ball, the eyes, the action, I thought that this edit was like, oh, look at the colors, look at those greens. Like anytime I would move a slider like this way or that, I was like, whoa, look at it, photo editing to the max. And this is what I came up with. I mean, you can't even really tell that it's edited. This could be a raw photo, but look at this. I mean, obviously you can see the chain link fence. I was probably as far away from the fence as I was from the camera right now, which is about like 6 feet. So I thought that, oh, if I zoom in enough, it'll just compress out. No, stupid. I didn't even get the subject in focus. As you can see, she's slightly blurred. I kind of got like the kind of middle of the outfield is what's in focus there. So not something that you would frame up in your house by any means for a softball photo, but the action and the pose I thought was okay. Here's another one from my first football game I ever shot. Again, the edit, it's all right. I mean, it's okay. It's out of focus again. Which is apparently trendy now, but whatever. It's out of focus. The only reason that I thought this was a photo worth editing, worth culling, was because he was so close to me. And I always was like, why are the football players never close? Like, how do you get good shots when they're all the way across on the other hash and I can't obviously run around the field? When do you get a good shot of a football player? I'm like, they've got to run like right at me. And so he did, came up the sideline, and I just went, and none of them were in focus because my camera just wasn't fast enough. And I thought this was sick because, oh, he's about to make a move. It's a terrible photo, terrible. If any photo that is out of focus, that's supposed to be in focus, is bad. Just saying. So yeah, that sucked. I just was like, wow, he's actually close to me and not super far away, so it's worth editing. And I'm pretty sure I sent this to this player and was like, hey, this is so dope. Yeah, no, it's not. So those are kind of some of my first beginner photos, beginning of sports, beginning of just photography in general, and then beginning with an actual camera. They're pretty bad. I mean, there's some parts I like about different things. I know what I was trying to do during them, but objectively, they're rough. So now let's move over to graphics. And this was the first graphic I ever made in Photoshop. The first final project that I completed in Photoshop was this graphic. Now, first look, it looks okay. I mean, it's not bad. It is heavily inspired by this Wyoming poster from the same year. And obviously, the more I've grown, the more I've come to realize that this is not up to my standards of a graphic. Like, what is this on the left? I did like, oh, 3 paint splashes, red, white, and blue, nice. Just throw an American flag right down the middle and then slap a giant logo over on the other side. And I was like, asymmetry, like basic graphic designers just do paint, flag, paint, it's all symmetrical. No, I want to go asymmetrical because I know what I'm doing. Yeah, no, I didn't. That looks terrible. Looks terrible. The other thing that probably some of you have noticed already, you zoom in on that top left receiver there, his number's backwards because I flipped him around because he was facing the wrong way and I didn't catch it while I was actually directing the shoot, and so I just flipped him around. I'm like, no, you can't even tell, you can't even tell. Can't even tell, yeah. And then I tried switching the 31 to background of the 13, and I had no idea how to do that, so I just left it. I was like, no one will know. You look at it, you're just like, oh yeah, cool poster, and then you move on. It's just, oh, it's okay. And I specifically remember, you see this grunge inside the Patriots instead of just plain white, there's kind of a texture on it. Clipping that to that Patriot text was the hardest thing I had ever done up to that point. This project in total took me about 20 hours to make. And right now, like if those were already cut out, I could make it in probably 20 minutes. Like that, wow, 20 hours. And I kept fine tuning it and changing all these things. It's really pretty basic. I mean, super interesting how I remember I was like, I can spend 20 hours on a graphic and it'll look super, no. Here was one of the first things I did in Photoshop, just kind of on my own. I stood in my garage and tried to, I was like, okay, this is literally what I did, right? So I'd be walking across the garage, and then as I'd get in front of the camera, I'd just stop and be like, okay, yep, this has to be normal because this is how I walk. I just freeze framed it, like taking a photo. Would wait for the timer to run out, take the photo, and apparently this is what I looked like. But I thought, you know what, it's fine. I look real enough. So then the first thing I learned in Photoshop really was this pixel stretch thing, which is what that obviously lines are. And then the shadow's bad. There's no shadow underneath my feet. It's terrible. The posing, honestly, is what cracks me up the most. I'm like what am I doing? Just walk. So obviously I learned a lot, and then 2 months later I did this one. This one I actually just walked in front of the camera and then waited, like I would continuously walk and then it would take the photo as I actually walked so it looked real. Added some clarity things, changed the shadow up so it would look like I'm actually stepping there. It looks a lot better, right? And this was only 2 months later, so you can see the progression in just 2 months of that. But yeah, I did pixel stretches for a long time. That's all I did in Photoshop because I thought it was so far advanced in what beginners were doing. This is another sports graphic I made. What am I just tried to do something new like every time I created a graphic. So like you see the 23 and it's like, oh, a bunch of 23s and then a couple of X's and oh, let's spam the X's. Let's make these weird lines underneath the Smith. Like, let's make the drop shadows blue because black doesn't fit because it's a blue team. Let's just put a random diamond picture down at the bottom. Like, what is this composition? The X's take up an entire fourth of the graphic. Really, really weird stuff going on here, but I thought it was super cool. The biggest struggle I had when trying to improve my graphic design, I'm like, why do I just have every background be just white? Like what can I put there? I'm like, textures look bad. I like the from scratch look. It looks like they're actually like, I don't know. But that for a long time was something I struggled with. I just had white backgrounds all the time. I'm like, these all look the same. So that's kind of the graphics department of my youth. Okay, now let's get into the videos. So the last video that I'm going to show, we're gonna watch it together. Literally like 4 people have ever seen it. It is so embarrassing and I really don't want to show it, but I think I have to. In full transparency, I think I have to. So, but first we'll take a look at a couple old hype videos that I made. So here is one from Adam Central. This was the same year I started photography, so I did a hype video for him. This was about like right as they were going into the playoffs. It's a minute 6. I like this hype video in certain aspects, but there are also things that I don't like, and we'll kind of go over those together. Let's go ahead and just watch this now. Again, there are some things I like and dislike about this video, but let's just go through it. So, ominous music, cool little drawing. I love the drawing animations. Nice little text there, I guess. Okay. So, aside from that first clip, the first couple clips, no, just the first clip, there's no action. It's just people standing. Like, that's hype. The music's cool. The text has to, that's what my problem always was. The text always had to guide the story because I couldn't tell it well enough. So there's no action clips yet, except for that first one, because I didn't get any because I sucked at video. I was terrible at it. Still standing, yep, cool. Bunch of pre-snap stuff, nice. Here's kind of an action clip. They get an opening kickoff. Okay. The season is just beginning. I thought that was insane sound design. Neat ending, I guess, but there's really no action. There was nothing to get hyped up for. It was more kind of a ooh. There was no payoff. Decent video, you know, not great. So now for the moment that we all have been waiting for. So I've made a couple short films. Well, not necessarily short film. I've made a couple cinematic videos, I would call them. This was my first attempt at a cinematic video. It's not cinematic, it's not anything. I once made a stop motion Lego movie where I played the clones as British.
I need to set off the alarm.
And that is less embarrassing than what I'm about to show you. Okay, so this is terrible, and we're gonna watch together. It's a short film I made, and I'm just gonna tell you the story behind it now because you won't get it from watching the video. So the point of the story was, well, no, I'll save it. Okay, let's check this thing out. Let's dive in. The strongest barrier. No, I do not have a bed frame. I still don't. Look at that, multiple camera angles. A little multi-view there, multi-cam. Oh. I'm fully dressed. You know how, like Hollywood movies, they're always like, every shot has intentionality. Every part of the story is there for a reason. There's no wasted shots, no wasted time of your viewing experience. We are, let's see, 33 seconds into this video and we've seen 2 shots of me in bed and I just woke up. 20% of the video already. Oh, there we go, finally got up. Look at that, multicam. Okay, fun fact about this. My old bedroom door did not have a lock. The handle broke because 2 people were pulling it in the opposite direction and it broke. So I physically was trying to open the door here. I knew that it wouldn't open, which is why I did that. I had that shot. But I was actually trying to open that door and I knew that it wouldn't open. Like I would get locked in sometimes. So that's kind of just a weird fun fact about that. The door's supposed to be a metaphor, by the way. If you didn't catch that from already. If you're not that in-depth of a thinker. Look at that angle. Not level.
Good morning.
Okay, so this was my first attempt at B-roll. So I always thought I was good at A-roll, the main story. I was like, I just want to do a cinematic B-roll film. I woke up at 6 in the morning to get these and I was super psyched. I was so excited. I'm like, we're going to get some fire B-roll. The sun's going to be rising. There's dew on the grass. Like, let's go. The color grade's going to be absolutely killer. There's waterfalls. Look at that super smooth camera movement. Dewy grass, leaves.
Now I get to be
blown out skies.
And the peace
Whoa, see that on the beat? Look at that. Look at that color grade.
is on my mind.
Right? I feel like I should have inserted some Florida Georgia Line cruise there, but I don't. That's like, okay, I'll just wait. Ooh, sunflowers that aren't facing me because I wanted the sun in the shot. There we go.
And I finally to hear your voice.
Like, what is this? The only reason I took that shot was trying to get a transition from dark to, from like going into dark and then you cut it into dark and it come like what I just did. What? Oh, I was like, oh, it's just, no, can't even tell what's going on.
And your spirit chimes out.
Whoa, I thought this shot was so good. Whoa, bang. Oh, the door's open. See that Celtics court? Missed focus. Look at that.
Good morning.
The strongest barrier that we often face between where we are and where we want to be is simply our own mind. Filmed by Dante Boelhower with the same B-roll clips. Okay, very quickly break that down, right? So the point of the video was obviously the quote at the end. I tried to explain it. I don't know why I put quotation marks around it because I just made it up and tried to make it seem famous. The point of the video was that you can do, like, the barriers that you see in your own mind are simply in your own mind. That's why the door was open from the third person point of view, but from first person it was closed. And he dreams of where he wants to be, which is apparently just grass and sun and sunflowers and driving with his hand out the window. But it was that, I thought that was amazing. I thought I was like a Hollywood filmmaker after making that and putting it together and grading it. Like, I thought that was a magical video, and obviously it was. But yeah, that probably should have made my first YouTube video, The Importance of Progress or whatever. But I just wanted to kind of post a fun video of roasting my old stuff. I saw some of it the other day and thought it would be hilarious to laugh at with you. So hopefully you found that slightly more funny than cringy. It's more cringy to me, but I hope you guys got a good laugh out of it. I hope you guys had fun laughing with me. I will be back hopefully more consistently on this platform with more videos, more consistent stuff, and better stuff than what you just saw there. So with that, I'm gonna finish this and never watch those or look at those again. Peace.